In the last few years or so, it seems like the world is changing. And now more than ever, we're experiencing the effect of this change and its challenges. And in some way, it could be that we're moving to the age of the Aquarius. And this change from old to new brings us to an unfamiliar territory with tension and uncertainty. It's important to acknowledge this change because once we acknowledge, we can better see the possibilities it has to offer to go through life.
During this time of stress, we have a choice to either stay hung up in the stress this world gives us, and we can also stay in the focus on the potential of this and focus on the growth that we can do inside of us. We can recognize, we can watch us, we can observe how we are in this world. And instead of focusing on the stress, which at some point plateaus, we can never rise above that when we're in stress. But when we are with this, when we're focusing on the potential of the new times and the inner growth that it is showing us, we can rise above this plateau and start other developments and spiral. After making all this life experience, we can start to accept the idea of transformation. And this transformation can lead us again to new experiences. We can, after that, recognize that we all have this latent universal principle in us that wants to wake up, but it's asleep. It's buried under all this, what we have to deal with. And it's okay, and it's not bad, but it can wake up and it can start guiding us. These new times of transformation that are triggered by, just to put it short, in this age of Aquarius, but there's a lot coming with that. And this is also visible in nature. You see it in the little ice crystals that form on the window when it freezes. You know, the question is what force causes the ice to crystallize into like flowers like that? So there is an outside influence, creative forces which are guiding humanity or guiding the whole world, guiding everything. And you see it in plants, you see it in animals, you can see it in the caterpillar transforming into a butterfly.
So in this case, I guess we're almost forced by nature to change into this butterfly.
You know, animals respond to all these influences by instinct. We human beings make a choice. Life experience brings us to this point where we open up, this new principle opens up, and then we make a choice to let that transformation happen.
Yeah, what's the benefit of this new development? Like,
We all have stress in one way or another, and dealing with thoughts like this, what is the plan? Is there a plan? All those questions lead us to some limit in our development of, like, this universal principle wants to wake up. We can allow it to take guidance over us. This is the original divine principle that's latent in us. When we deal with these ideas and thoughts, our stress not necessarily becomes less, but it gets a different meaning. It's no longer random stress that we don't know which way is up, or we don't know what the meaning of it is, or any of it. No, all of a sudden we're dealing with it, and it helps us learn and teach and guide us through situations in life. So while we still have the same amount of work and same as everything, it all of a sudden gets a different meaning. It gets direction, you could call it. Or the butterfly is a great symbol of what, in an outside visual, visible way, what can happen inside us. In nature, the egg gives itself up for the worm to hatch. The worm grows and at a certain point gives itself up to go into a cocoon and then become a butterfly. And then, but the big process in this transformation is that the caterpillar, by instinct, gives itself up so that the butterfly can develop. We as human beings can make the choice. Do we stay at this plateau and live in life, wake up in the morning, eat, go to work, come back, go to sleep, and every day all over again? Or do we make a choice to look at what's behind all of this and let that transformation take place in us? We let that me, myself, and I that always wants to have power and control over everything in our life realize that there's more to it, and yes, it plays an important role, and yet yet there's this universal principle latent in us being pushed down by that me, myself, and I that in some situations would be the better guide.
The possibility for transformation, described in the story of the butterfly, has always been known and offered to humanity.
Once upon a time, there was a caterpillar named Lily. Every day she was eating and sleeping and crawling and growing. She did what she thought caterpillars were meant to do. But over time, Lily the caterpillar grew restless. There must be more to caterpillar life than only eating and sleeping.
In the 1200s, in southern France, the metamorphosis from caterpillar to butterfly was a powerful symbol for the Cathars. They explained about the universal principle in the heart of each human being that is the seed for this transformation, and they also realized this inner transformation to a new state of being within themselves. We call this seed kernel the rose of the heart, or the spark of the spirit. This process of transfiguration or transformation was not only possible in the Middle Ages or in earlier historical times. The inner path of transformation or transfiguration has always been open to those people who sense that the outer visible world is not all there is. It is open to people who are seeking for the answers to bigger questions. Especially now, living in the contemporary world, we can easily get stuck in our consciousness of me, myself, and I. A consciousness that is completely self-serving and self-preserving. Maybe we try to be nicer, a better person. Maybe we try to improve the world, etc. But it never seems to last. And that is simply because it is not possible in the state of consciousness, the state of being, that is familiar to us, natural to us. We are one with this nature, with its ever-shifting opposites.
But then she looked beyond the grass and leaves and saw a radiant blue sky. What a different world it is up there, Lily thought longingly. And then suddenly she saw it. There were the most beautiful, colorful creatures gliding through the air. They didn't even touch the ground. No, they just fluttered and glided along with so much grace and ease. Lily couldn't even begin to imagine how wonderful this must be, how she longed to fly like them.
Don't we all feel a deep inner longing for something else that we sense within us? This quiet but persistent longing within us comes from the universal divine principle in our hearts. It is the seed for a totally new state of being. It is the inner certainty of the butterfly that lies as a promise in the caterpillar.
The butterfly said, "If you really want to change, if you really want to fly, then you will find it within yourself how to transform."
A butterfly can develop only after the caterpillar gives itself up in order to weave itself a cocoon. Likewise, when we learn to listen to our inner longing and our inner knowing that a new life is feasible, then the possibility for change becomes more powerful. it becomes easier to listen so that this inner voice can guide us in our daily life with all its challenges. These impulses of the universal principle within us have nothing to do with our familiar state of being, the state of me, myself, and I. They are coming from another dimension within us, the dimension of the soul. The rose is a spark of the universal divine, and therefore has the potential to reconnect with its original life force. To connect to the universal within us, we have to let go of our old ways of thinking and feeling, just as the caterpillar needs to let go of identifying itself as a caterpillar so that it can become a butterfly. It requires courage because we need to let go of everything we're familiar with. Essentially, we need to change our identity. It doesn't make sense to hold on to old ways of living if we are longing for a new state of being. Our inner longing makes this change possible. We are all able to transform into new beings, to enter a new state of being, if we focus our life on this inner longing and if we are willing to follow our heart.
Despite all of her doubts and fear, the deep longing in her was much stronger. Oh, how she wished, yearned to fly. Soon it became the most important thing in Lily's life. Everything that had excited her until now, eating, crawling, finding the best leaves, it mattered less and less. She only knew her deep longing. She wanted to fly. And so one day she decided to begin spinning a cocoon. After some time had passed, the transformation happened. The most beautiful butterfly was emerging from the cocoon. And some moments later, Lily the butterfly was flying high into the sunny sky.
Butterfly!
This story is not just a fantasy or a dream. It's a reality that lies in wait for all of us when we, like Lily, want to fly so much that we are willing to give up what we are used to being in order to find and connect with our divine origin. This transformation is possible in our lifetime. Gnostic spiritual schools, such as the Golden Rosy Cross, exist exactly for this purpose, to help those of us who want to transform in undertaking and completing this process. We do not have to accomplish the transformation ourselves. In fact, we cannot. The potential is within us, in the rose of the heart, in the rose which carries the vibration and frequency of the universal divinity. Success lies in entrusting ourselves to this inner divine principle. In this Aquarius era, in the midst of uncertainty and change, we have the choice of clinging to the old or embracing the new divine promise offered us. The potential for transformation is waiting for us. It's up to us to make our choice.